What is going on, everybody? It's Stas here. Hope you guys had a fantastic weekend and are ready to crush the stock market this week. Let me tell you, I sure am. And today, like every Sunday, we're going to be covering a bunch of stocks, about 10 stocks here that I'm actually looking at for this week. And I also want to break down what happened last week in the markets. We'll take a look at the S&P and the NASDAQ 100. So if you guys find value, you know what to do. Hit the like, subscribe, get yourself some free money from M1 Finance, $30 free, and from WeBull you get 2 stocks. You might as well join the Strive Smart Discord chat as well, and check out my Patreon. All of those are linked down below. So let's just get started. Today we're going to go over, like I said, everything, kind of the game plan for this upcoming week. And there's no doubt about it, and I've been saying this, the S&P 500 is a bit overbought. The markets in general are overheated. We're seeing the VIX, it's at a year low, it's at a 6-month low. We see the S&P 500, it just hit an all-time high this past trading day, and the Dow Jones. And what I'm seeing right now is a bearish divergence when it comes to SPY. Look at this. We're seeing the RSI weaken here as the market continues to truck along, and we're seeing volume die down over the past, couple of days. The volume's been dying down a bit. We were at about, 30 million here a couple days ago, and now we were just at about 18 million, 16 million, almost cut in half. So I'm thinking here, this could be early indications that we're going to see some sort of pullback, maybe this week, heck, maybe even tomorrow, and we'll see what the futures market is looking like. At this point in time, I'm filming before the market even opens, the futures market. So let me know what it's looking like. If it gaps down aggressively, hey, that could be the start of this little pullback. And I'm not saying we're going to crash or anything like that, but I do think we're going to cool down a bit. Maybe 404 on SPY, right around the 180 moving average here on the hourly chart. You could also argue, if we pull up the 4-hour chart here, it could go to 395, maybe even 398, 402 on an even bigger sell-off there. That could be healthy as well. And when it comes down to QQQ, which tracks the NASDAQ 100, you guys should know that, we're seeing a parabolic move. It hit 315 rather a couple days ago, hit 325 from there, broke above 331. Now we filled up the entire gap pretty much to that all-time high a couple weeks ago at 339. And if I pull up, let's say, this hourly chart, let's see if there's a bearish divergence on this as well. Yup, we're seeing the RSI's weakening. Right, we're seeing volume dying down over the past couple of weeks, and the QQQ is still trucking along, and not the past couple of weeks for volume, really for this entire month of April so far, so more like almost 2 weeks, so about 10 days, the volume has been slowly dying down a bit. So these are signs that I'm seeing, and again, I'm not saying we're going to crash or anything like that. In fact, I'm still bullish on the markets, guys, but I'm just thinking, okay, we might see a little bit of a sell off, maybe a couple percentage points here and there on the QQQ, SPY, and again, the VIX is at a 6-month low, 1-year low, in fact. So these are signs that I'm looking at. Gold's also down, silver's down, so I'm looking at that. Those are some thoughts I have. What do you guys think? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, I would love to know. And we have some earnings reports this week, guys. We have some banks reporting. We have Delta kicking it off for the airlines. So I'm pretty excited, although I'm not really in. In fact, now that I think about it, guys, it's crazy. I don't have any banking stocks, and I don't have any airline stocks. I don't own any of those, and maybe I obviously indirectly own them through an ETF, because I do own ETFs that have financials. So yeah, I guess you could argue I do own some airlines and banks, but indirectly, I don't have any, straight up shares in any banks, any airlines. I mean, I used to, I used to have money in Wells Fargo. That didn't go well. I lost money there. I covered that in my recent M1 Finance portfolio update video. You guys should go check that out. Go to my playlists on the channel, and you can see a bunch of videos on that portfolio I started for the channel here, the YouTube channel, and how it's grown over time. I really recommend you guys go check that out. And we're going to talk about some banks again today, but first, we have a cruise line here, RCL, that I like in terms of not an investment, but a trade. We're seeing here it's down about $10 from the high. So what does that equate to? About 10-11%. Okay. And it's down about $10 there, obviously. And you can see here, okay, it's making lower highs, but at the same time, it's making higher lows, squeezing itself into this wedge. And you can also see we did struggle last week at the resistance of the wedge. We went to about $95, but we failed there. And now, like I said, we're at $89, so we dropped about $5. But we're squeezing deeper and deeper, and we're still, maintaining the moving averages as we're getting deeper into this wedge. So I believe that, and again, guys, we're not confirmed. The breakout hasn't confirmed yet, but I believe it could happen this week, and they do have earnings coming up later on this month. Actually, no, beginning of May 5th to be exact. That's what they're scheduled at right now. So RCL, I think there could be some upside. So I'm going to set an alert here at about, actually, no, that's the wrong button. Oops, guys. I did not want to clear the drawing set. I want to create an alert. So we'll probably put it at, maybe 91.50 I'll put the alert at. So that's RCL there for you all. Maybe you guys should keep an eye on this. I don't own it yet, but I think there could be a nice breakout coming here. We just have to wait and see and be patient. And APHA, APHA, a good old MJ stock, they're also reporting earnings, not in May, they're reporting this month, as well as, again, the banks, some airlines as well. We're seeing they're reporting tomorrow. APHA, ticker symbol APHA. And I forget, there was an MJ stock that I used to own, and I sold out of it. I think I don't think it was this one. It was, maybe it was Kronos. I forget exactly which one. I probably should remember that. I'm an idiot. But anyway, APHA, this is one that it's down 50% from $32 to $16, and very similar to RCL in a sense, where it's been making higher lows but also lower highs, and it's in a wedge, and it's been squeezing deeper and deeper into this wedge. But the only key difference is, in this case, we're trading under the moving averages, under the 50 and the 180 SMAs here, as opposed to RCL, which was trading above the moving averages. So RCL is, no doubt about it, way more bullish when it comes to technicals as opposed to APHA. But APHA is still worth watching, considering they are reporting earnings, and we've seen these MJ stocks, no exaggeration, they've ran up 20, 30%, 50% in a day. And I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'm just saying, okay, there's going to be volatility for sure, and we could catch a move in this. And if we do end up maybe holding $15.90, $16 right by the support of this wedge, we could ultimately fill the gap up to the resistance of the wedge at about $19. So there's still some, room for a profit to be made even within this wedge before it even breaks out, if it even breaks out, right? And we have Riot. Riot's been a stock that's been lagging a little bit, I feel like, behind Mara. Mara broke out. If you guys remember this one, we called it out last week on Patreon and here on the YouTube channel a little bit. We mentioned it, and this has just been a money maker, no doubt about it. But Riot, on the flip side, it's still stuck in a wedge, just like RCL and APHA here, making lower highs, higher lows, and we're about to test the moving averages here, which are acting as resistance. So I think if Riot could take out, let's say, maybe $53 to about $55, that general range, there's some upside in this thing, maybe to about $67, $70. And yeah, you could argue it might go to $85, but slow your horses. We're not there quite yet. That's still $40 pretty much away from where we are now, but that is a longer term target, and who knows even if it even gets to that point. But in the short term, we're looking at $50, $55, followed by $67 here on Riot. So I'm going to set an alert I'll probably put this one at, let's say, $52.50, maybe a little bit before it gets to $53. So we'll put that there. Riot is one worth watching for sure. And we have XL Fleet. This is one that by far you guys have been spamming the comments on XL Fleet, and there's obviously demand for this one, so we're going to mention it a little bit here, and I'll probably make a video this week, so make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that. I'm going to make a deeper video on XL Fleet and dive into it, probably a 10-15 minute video. So this is a company that overall, it's down a lot, the stock itself, from $36 all the way to $7, guys. That is crazy. And I didn't look at their recent earnings report because, quite frankly, I want to wait until I make that next video to go deeper into the earnings report. But overall, XL Fleet, their main goal is to electrify fleet vehicles, right? And they do a lot of work, and as a leader, they're a leader in commercial fleet electrification. XL Fleet turns many of the most popular Class 2 to 6 vehicles from Ford, Chevrolet, GMC, and Isuzu into hybrid and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles without disrupting their performance. We make them, and as in we, XL Fleet makes them cleaner and more fuel efficient while leaving the OEM powertrain, engine, transmission, fuel, and exhaust systems completely intact. It's a simple way to improve vehicle MPG miles per gallon and meet sustainability goals without compromising operations of the vehicle itself. Again, Chevrolets, Ford, GMC, Isuzu, whatever it may be. So that is interesting, right? Very interesting, especially in today's day and age where obviously we're going more towards EVs, electrification. This is an interesting company. And again, we're going to make that video this week, and I'm not too sure when it's going to come out, but whenever a stock's down 80%, guys, let me say that again, 80%. If this is a stock that you want to buy, you've done research, you understand it, and you see the future, now is the time to buy whenever a stock is down 80%. And I'm not telling you to go buy XL Fleet. I'm just saying in general, if you've done research on a stock, you love the stock, you believe in the company, and somehow the stock's down a ton, don't be scared in those moments. Those are the moments to dive in. And for XL Fleet, who knows, maybe I even take a position, and we'll talk about that later on this week. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. And like I said, we have a couple of bank stocks that are reporting this week. We have Wells Fargo, Morgan Stanley, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. But I'm going to focus on two here, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan. And quite frankly, these are probably the two best ones. And we also have Bank of America this week. That is arguably one of the best ones as well. But for me, JP Morgan, by far the best bank. Goldman Sachs, I like it. I use their products. What do I use? I use Marcus, the savings account. Go check it out. I mean, at this point, all high-yield savings accounts, they're not even high yield. They're like 0.5%. But, yeah, I use Marcus for savings. And at one point, they were 2%, but now, unfortunately, with Jay Powell and what the Fed's been doing, you know, the interest rates, they're not looking too hot. But either way, Goldman Sachs, the stock is starting to heat up a bit, starting to get hot on the flip side, right? It's down about $25 from that all-time high a couple weeks ago. That was when? Middle of March at $356. And you guys can see this is very bullish what I'm seeing. We're breaking out of the wedge, took out both the 180 and the 50 moving averages here on the 4-hour chart. And you could argue on Friday, we got a bit overheated, right? RSI got to about 60. We pulled back on Friday. We went down 0.1% in terms of Goldman Sachs stock. And what I like about the close on Fridays is if I pull up this 5-day, 5-minute, you can see we held a pretty solid support at 330 and right around the 180 and the 50 moving averages on the 5-day, 5-minute chart. And that's going to show, to me at least, that the uptrend's continuing. This is merely a little pullback within the breakout itself, and we might be able to rocket right off of this point. That is what I'm thinking right now with Goldman Sachs. And their earnings are not tomorrow, not Tuesday, but they're actually on Wednesday, on the 14th of this month of April. And we have JP Morgan as well. JPM is the ticker. We called this out last week. This broke out of the wedge, very similar to what we saw with Goldman Sachs. And this one looks like it's going to fill the gap to about 157, 158-ish, right around there, followed by about $160, $161 per share, which is a nice gap from where we are now, about 3 to 4%. And they also report earnings on Wednesday, I believe. Let me double check that. Yup, on the 14th of this month. That is on Wednesday. So that is JP Morgan. I like these banking stocks, guys. And mind you, it's arguable at this point. As long-term investments, you missed the boat. I'm going to be quite frank with you. And that's arguable, right? Again, maybe I could be wrong. Who knows? Maybe JP Morgan goes to $200. But if you weren't buying these banking stocks as a long-term investment, in my personal opinion, back when JP Morgan was 90, 100, 110 even, if you missed the boat and you're looking to FOMO in now, I'd be careful. And again, I'm not saying it's a crappy investment. Do your own research as always. But for me, since I don't own bank stocks, like I said, I'm not rushing into these prices. And you may be asking yourself, Stas, then what would you look at right now? Well, the truth is, a lot of the tech stocks, they're still beaten down, although I'm not going to mention a lot of these today. They're not on the script for the video, but screw it. We'll talk about some. You know, Apple's still down a decent amount. Well, now it's ran up a ton, but we called it out last week at 123, 127. That was a good spot. Now it's overheated, arguably, but if it pulls back down to the high 120s, in my opinion, that would be a nice purchase. Ticker symbol Apple. You know, we talked about XL Fleet. That stock's heavily beaten down. GNOG is another one that I've been buying that is very beaten down, and I'll probably buy more of this stock, right? And you guys on Patreon get all of my real-time buy and sell alerts, so you know what I'm buying in real time in all of my accounts, right? That is very important if you want to see all that. That is on Patreon. So GNOG's one I've been looking at. What are some other beaten down ones we covered? We did an oversold stock video last week. What did I mention in that one, guys? Crap, I'm forgetting. You guys should go check that out, though. 2 oversold stocks to buy now. And we have some airlines. Like I said, DAL is one here that is down a little bit from its high. Nothing crazy. It's down about a couple dollars, so that equates to what, 5-6%? Yup. It went from $52. Now it's at $49. So I'm looking at this as a potential play, maybe back up to the 52 level. But then again, I would not be surprised if DAL were to dump off to about $46. I think that would be a pretty interesting spot for DAL, especially into earnings. And I'm not saying, and I'm not advocating for you guys to go buy before earnings, but you know, this could be a decent play regardless. And we're going to see some volatility probably into earnings. So watch out for DAL. And now I just pulled up those 2 oversold stocks as we were just talking there, because I don't want to leave you all hanging. It was Arrival is one of them. So these are the stocks I'm focusing on, guys. You know, Arrival, that is heavily beaten down compared to something like a bank or an airline. And you can see the other one here, Skills, SKLZ. That is one that is down a ton. It's down about 60%. So these are some stocks I'm focusing on. And there's 1 or 2 more here. Don't click off the video yet, guys. Z is Zillow. This is one that I'm also watching. We have a head and shoulder here. And granted, guys, this one is looking pretty bearish as of now, although the past couple of days have been great. We're still in the head and shoulder. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder right here. You can see it, and we are overbought. That is worrisome. So if the head and shoulder plays out, you guessed it, this is probably going to dump back down to the 115s, 120s, 125, anywhere in that level, right? Or that range, rather. And on the flip side, where we could come in as bulls and maybe make some money is if 150 breaks, right around the 180 SMA here on the 4 hours. So I'm going to set an alert there, and that's the overall neckline of this head and shoulder. So let me put that at 155. If we break the neckline, which is right around 150, 155, watch out for a nice change of pace here for Zillow, which has really done nothing, the stock that is, for the past couple of months. So if 155 breaks, we're probably going to slowly make our way to 170, 175 in the short term. And the last stock for today is Pepsi, ticker symbol PEP. This is one of my favorite consumer defensive, long-term, set it and forget it dividend stocks. No, it's not a growth stock. You might not like it if it's not a growth stock. I know a lot of you guys don't like anything but growth stocks these days, but I'm a bit different. I love my growth stocks, but I also love my blue chip dividends, set it and forget it, value type of investments like Pepsi. And at this point in time, Pepsi on the 3-year chart, you can see it broke out of 140. That's a good sign of momentum. And we're still about a couple bucks away from that high from not only back in December, but also back in February of 2020. So I think in the short term, Pepsi could make its way maybe up to about 148. Maybe it breaks that, goes to 150, 155. I think that's very possible for this stock in the very short, maybe not actually, let me take that back. Maybe not in the very short term. It might take some months or a couple weeks at least for a stock like Pepsi to move like that. But with earnings coming up, then again, it could happen in a couple weeks or maybe 10 days. Who knows? Maybe 10 trading days. And they have earnings coming up here on the 15th of April. And you guys can see how much of a move or, the momentum and the volume spike here when we got out of 139, got to about 145. So, yeah, I like this pullback on Pepsi. I think there's some upside here, so watch out for it. And that's pretty much it, guys. We went over a bunch of stocks. I feel like we talked about at least 15 stocks today, but we're going to put in the title 10 stocks because I feel like that's better. I don't know, guys. What would you rather click on? 10 stocks, 15 stocks, 7 stocks? It doesn't matter at the end of the day. We're talking about stocks every single video. So make sure to hit the like button, subscribe. I would really appreciate it if you guys did that. It means the world to me, helps me out in the YouTube algorithm and so forth. And if you all want to join the free Discord chat, that is linked down below. You could also get $30 from M1 Finance. All you have to do is use my link and deposit $100. You literally get $30 to invest with when you do that. And if you don't even like the platform, which if you're a long-term investor and you're not interested in day trading, swing trading, that short stuff, you're going to love M1 Finance. And if you don't like it, hey, you could still get $30, take that initial $100 out, and you made 30% on your money. And you could also check out my Patreon down below for real-time buy and sell alerts, real-time call-outs, morning update videos every single trading day going over breakout stocks, what's going on in the news, earnings reports. So check out my Patreon. That's linked down below. I'll catch you all in the next video. Thanks for watching as always. Keep crushing the markets, guys. Stay safe out there. Peace out.